Hey, what's up, my YouTube family? Before we start, this isn't just one of those K-pop controversy videos that you always see. When I saw the title, why T.O.P's name is suddenly popping up everywhere again, I knew this was more than just about the headlines. T.O.P, a member of the Big Bang group, has one of the most complicated stories in K-pop. I'm a newbie to K-pop and I'm trying to understand why his name always pops up, even though he decided to step away and disappear from the K-pop industry. So yeah, this is going to be a juicy video. Let's watch it together and talk about what's really going on. With that being said, I am Creator G and welcome back to another episode here on Hallyu G, where we react to everything K-pop, K-drama, K-films, K-news, the music, the scandals, the drama, choreography, and outstanding performances that keep surprising me time and time and time again. With that being said, please don't forget to subscribe, comment, like, and share, and put down in the comments what are your thoughts about T.O.P's story. Yeah, this is going to be a juicy one. So without any further ado, let's go.
Why T.O.P.'s name is suddenly popping up again. Let's see what this one is about. Let's go, let's go.
From adored idol to public target, T.O.P's name has always carried a lot of weight. But his latest revelation has pulled him from obscurity, dominating headlines and leaving fans and critics alike on edge. T.O.P began his career as the lead rapper of Big Bang in 2006 and quickly became one of K-pop's most adored idols. Yet over the span of more than 10 years, public sentiment shifted dramatically, and he went from being celebrated and admired to facing widespread criticism and backlash.
You know, every time I hear his story being laid out like this, it always reminds me of how fast the industry and the public can actually turn on someone. One moment you are loved, and the next moment you are treated like you disposable. And the scariest part is how normalized that becomes. It's very scary.
Explain, in 2017, T.O.P began his mandatory enlistment as a conscripted police officer with expectations that his service would conclude without issue, but midway
Hmm.
through that process, everything changed when reports surfaced that he would face prosecution for illegal substance use. As the investigation moved forward, he was immediately removed from his regular police duties and reassigned to await the legal outcome, effectively placing his career and military service on hold at the same time. Not long after, he
You know, one thing about this is like, this isn't for me really about TOP anymore. This feels like a bigger conversation about like how idols are expected to be perfect all the time. And the moment they fail, there is no room like for growth or humanity. It's like what is this world, or what has this world become?
released a handwritten apology, openly admitting fault and expressing regret, promising
Mm.
that he would never repeat such a mistake. Despite the apology, the public response quickly turned severe, with online platforms filling up with harsh and inhumane criticism that gained massive attention and engagement, creating an overwhelming atmosphere that deeply concerned fans. The situation intensified when a photo circulated showing T.O.P at his assigned station in uniform with a faint smile, which became a focal point for further backlash, as many interpreted it as him not caring about what was happening.
Come on. You know, one thing that I've also realized, is that people, and I think a lot of fans don't actually realize, that silence doesn't always mean peace. Sometimes it just means somebody trying to survive. Just because someone has a smirk on their face, or doesn't mean that he's not taking it seriously. Maybe he's just trying to hide his emotions. We never know what he's going through, but people always like drama. They like to stir up things, you know. It just makes good headlines at the end of the day. And if it makes headlines, it means more money for the journalist, more money for, you know, yeah, just it just stirs up a lot of shit at the end of the day.
However, supporters saw something else entirely, not indifference, but the strained expression of someone under immense emotional pressure and clearly struggling. Those worries were tragically confirmed only days later when T.O.P was found unconscious inside the police barracks and rushed to the hospital for emergency treatment. Investigations later revealed that he had been taking prescribed anti-anxiety medication, but on that particular day, he consumed a higher dose than directed, resulting in a critical condition that shocked both fans and the public. On
You know, what makes this even more upsetting for me is knowing how common this is in the industry, you know, how many people are on antidepressant medications, you know, but yet how little really changes afterwards. You know, like it's always this celebrity or this person took so much, overdosed on this and that, but they never look at the core problem. And what is the core problem? The industry. Come on, the in industry, man.
June 8th, 2017, his mother confirmed that he had regained consciousness and was recovering, offering a moment of relief after days of uncertainty. Later that month, during his first hearing at the Seoul Central District Court, T.O.P admitted guilt, acknowledging 4 instances of illegal smoking and receiving a sentence of 2 years probation. The trial also revealed that some of these incidents involved his former partner, actress Han So-hee, further complicating the public narrative surrounding the case. As authorities reviewed how he would complete his remaining military obligations, it was ultimately decided that he would no longer serve as a conscripted police officer and would instead finish his duty as a public service worker. He
Mm.
resumed service in this new role in January 2018 and was officially discharged on July 6, 2019. Even though the offense itself was relatively minor and the fallout had nearly cost him his life, the public response showed little mercy, with relentless attacks continuing from every direction and
You know, for me, this feels like the internet wanted a villain, you know, not accountability. And once that narrative starts, it's like it's impossible. It's impossible to escape. It's literally impossible to escape from that.
forgiveness remaining far out of reach, often expressed in ways that felt shockingly cruel. He then ended up leaving YG Entertainment in February of 2022 and even participated in Big Bang's comeback single. In the years that followed, discussions around this period increasingly shifted toward concerns about his mental health.
I think him leaving YG was part of the label's decision, you know, for PR sake and to protect the label and the group Big Bang. But I think also another part, you can also tell this wasn't also a sudden decision, you know. This was years of emotional wear and tear. Like someone with that much popularity and that much fame doesn't just leave just like that over one incident. So clearly this guy has been through so much, you know. And it feels like he didn't leave because he hated his fans, but because the environment stopped feeling safe for him, you know. And there's something really sad about hearing an artist say they don't want to be seen anymore, especially someone who once thrived so much on performing. Like, how do you just leave that, you know? It's crazy.
Especially as fans revisited his past comments about the emotional toll of idol life. By the time 2019 came around, it was clear just how distant he had grown from the public, especially when he personally responded to a hostile message telling him to disappear, making it clear that returning was never part of his plans, and even suggesting that people focus on harmless things instead of directing their anger at him. The following
Mm.
year, during a live broadcast, he went even further, openly stating that he had no desire to resume activities in Korea, expressing exhaustion with the constant scrutiny and asking media outlets to stop turning his existence into headlines.
Exactly. The media is not your friend, you know. The media will turn the story into a whole different narrative, an entire whole different narrative. And I've seen this over and over again in Hollywood and clearly in the K-pop industry as well. So, yeah, I mean, him not wanting to return is so sad for a lot of fans, but I also respect his decision, you know. Like I said, this wasn't just a sudden decision for him. This was years of emotional wear and tear for him, and yeah, like I feel for him, man. I really do.
What stood out most was not anger, but resignation, as he pointed out how unforgiving people could be and quietly wished for a society that showed more empathy instead of cruelty. Looking
Mm,
back, many began to see these events not as isolated mistakes, but as part of a much larger struggle shaped by pressure, scrutiny, and the high cost of life in the public eye. In a 2022 interview with Prestige Online, he revealed that emotional struggles had followed him since childhood, describing himself as someone who felt things far more deeply than those around him. Looking
what did
back
I
on
just say?
2017, he did not downplay what happened, openly calling it the darkest point of his life and acknowledging how that single event exploded into one of the most
Mm,
talked about stories in the
of
country.
course.
What lingered even longer than the headlines, however, was the psychological aftermath, as he admitted that the
Mm,
constant condemnation severely damaged his mental state and pushed him towards self destructive behavior. While recalling
wow.
how nearly every major media outlet turned against him at the time, he also drew attention to South Korea's alarmingly high rates of self inflicted harm and the uncomfortable reality that mental health remains a deeply avoided topic within its conservative culture. Stay
Mm.
connected and informed by subscribing.
This whole story makes me question on how we consume celebrity culture. We demand authenticity, but punish people, when they show it. Like, I don't understand.
And supporting the channel for timely updates. The situation escalated in late June 2023, a month after he left Big Bang, when it was confirmed that he would appear in Squid Game 2 as player 230, a former
Okay.
rapper whose life collapses after falling into a crypto investment trap. Almost immediately, criticism erupted, largely because the character's reckless tendencies, including substance-related behavior, struck many as an
Come on.
uncomfortable reflection of T.O.P's own past, reigniting anger that had never fully disappeared. Some viewers openly declared they would refuse to watch the series solely because of his involvement.
Come on. Why are we like why are our fans why fans like this? Why are people like this in general? I understand the discomfort, but refusing to watch an entire show because of one actor feels like misplaced anger. Come on, This doesn't make sense, No, I think no matter what role he took, I feel there would have always been some sort of backlash regardless.
Harsh comments spread rapidly, with detractors questioning why someone with his history was being given such a high profile role, pushing the outrage to the point where calls for boycotts began to circulate. The reaction grew so intense that even Squid Game director Hwang Dong-hyuk eventually addressed the controversy directly in an interview with People, where he defended his decision to cast T.O.P. Acknowledging the
Mm,
rumors surrounding the role, he explained that taking on such a character required significant courage and stressed that
of
T.O.P. had
course.
earned the part through careful evaluation, not sympathy or provocation.
Well done to the director. Well done. If the director is defending you, and defending his casting choice matters, it shows that someone saw his ability and not just his history. And I'm sure the director knows about the industry. So the director is far beyond everyone else that's on this level, you know?
According to the director, the choice was based entirely on suitability and ability, adding that the team was prepared to let the finished work speak for itself rather than
Mm,
retreat under pressure, which is why the casting remained unchanged despite the backlash.
of
That didn't
course.
mean that the public and the media weren't going to show their extreme displeasure with this, though. Immediately, a seemingly coordinated attack started against T.O.P., with articles coming out about his acting minutes within the season releasing, and with fans accusing the media of focusing on his past controversies rather than his performance in the show. After Squid Game came out,
This is this is really stupid to me because the situation feels very complicated because people aren't reacting to his role even though he played a good role. They were reacting to his past, and that shows how little room there is for growth or for second chances in the K-pop industry. People don't forgive and they don't forget. Crazy.
T.O.P. gave a series of interviews where he opened up about many things: his bond with the other Big Bang members, the 2017 scandal, the regrets he carried, the long period of hiatus, and the reasons behind his decision to leave the group. Across these conversations, he made it very clear that he had no intention of rejoining Big Bang
Mm.
despite speculation. And while fans had long speculated about a possible solo project, he neither confirmed nor denied specific plans at the time.
For me, this doesn't For me, this doesn't feel like somebody who's chasing relevance, you know? I feel like this is someone finally choosing himself in which he should, you know? So well done to him, you know? Well done for him being such a brave artist, you know? So, yeah.
In June 2023, when a fan asked him on Instagram if he was making a return, he simply replied solo, hinting that he was working on something independently. Reflecting on his time away from the spotlight, he had also explained that he had spent most of it moving between home and the music studio, since creating music was the only thing that brought him a sense of relief and focus during those
Mm,
years.
yeah, understand. The way he talks about music and going solo, it sounds less like a career for him because he's been through that, and it sounds more like a type of therapy, you know? Like the one place that he could exist without judgment. So, yeah, I understand why he would like to go solo. It's more of an expression for him and not really a career.
He went on, I didn't have a specific goal, I just felt alive when I was in the studio. Whether I'm T.O.P making music or Choi Sung-hyun acting, it's all me. Some believe
Mm.
that the music T.O.P was making was purely personal, a way to process stress and work through the trauma he had experienced, while others clung
Exactly
to the
what I
hope that
just
he would
said.
eventually share it with the public and let
Exactly.
fans finally hear what he had been creating in private. However, confirmation about T.O.P releasing new music wouldn't come up until the end of 2025, when he sat down for
Mm.
an interview with the international
Okay.
outlet Awards
So
Buzz
it's
ahead of Squid
recently.
Game's upcoming third season. What initially felt like a playful question about how his character Thanos would act if given control of the world unexpectedly turned into something much more revealing, as he
Mm.
jokingly explained that he would start by claiming the prize money and then, half joking, half serious, hinted that he would conquer the rest through music, casually mentioning that his solo album was on the way. That
Cool.
single remark was enough to reignite long-standing rumors, especially when additional reports followed, suggesting the project was planned for a fourth quarter release and that he had been collaborating with Squid Game's art director on the album's creative direction. Although the release window
Okay.
ultimately passed without any music being dropped, the interview itself became the clearest sign fans had received in years that a solo project was real and actively in motion. While longtime supporters welcomed the confirmation with excitement, the broader online reaction was far less forgiving, as
You know, he had a really long gap, not being with Big Bang. And especially for an artist known, with such strong presence, I feel like that alone shows how serious he is about this and how serious this is for him, Even though he's joking here and there, he's very serious.
critics quickly resurfaced to remind him of his supposed retirement, with others going even further by openly expressing hostility and rejection. In the end, the moment that brought hope to his fans also made it clear that any step back into the public sphere would continue to be met with resistance. The long silence finally broke on January 1st when T.O.P confirmed his return by posting a short video on his personal Instagram, accompanied by a brief but loaded message announcing that a new album was on the way under the title
Mm,
Top Spot Another Dimension. The
I love the title Top Spot Another Dimension. Wow. I can't wait for this album to come out to hear what he has to say, to hear what he has to express. I still feel like, regardless of all the backlash, the fans, the VIP fans, is still going to support him, buy the album, and just be there for him and sing along with his songs. It's good. This is going to be an interesting one. So I'm really curious to know what the album's going to sound like.
clip itself was minimal and deliberate, showing him slowly writing the words "another dimension" on a plain white sheet of paper. A simple gesture that felt like a clear signal that he was turning the page and stepping into a new phase of his career. No
Of
concrete
course.
details were shared beyond that moment, with no track list, no release schedule, and no further explanation, yet the announcement alone was enough to spark excitement among fans who had
Mm,
been waiting years, and in some cases more
of
than a
course.
decade, to see him return to music on his own terms. For context, this new album will be T.O.P's first solo release in 13 years, following his 2013 digital single Doom Dada. It also marks
Oh,
his
wow.
first music since stepping away from the group and returning to the spotlight on his own terms, so it's no wonder that fans are so excited.
Of course. I mean, 13 years, you know, it's a very long time. And for me, whether you agree or not with his return, it's clear that this comeback is happening on his terms and not the industry's. So I'm happy that he's doing this on his own terms, how he wants it to happen, when he wants it to happen, and yeah, just to make it happen at the end of the day. And that's what it's all about.
Predictably, the reaction was not entirely positive, as criticism quickly
Always.
followed online, much of it once again tied to his past issues, regardless of how long ago they occurred. Others took issue with the timing itself, pointing out that his decision to come back in 2026 coincided with Big Bang's 20th anniversary, turning what should have been a celebratory moment into yet another point of contention. One commenter wrote, "You said you hated Big Bang and left, but now you want to celebrate the 20th anniversary?" Others went even further,
I mean, he was a part of Big Bang and he was a contributor to Big Bang's success. So, I mean, why can't he celebrate with the group that, he gave so much to and he offered so much to and contributed so much to? I mean, he put something on the table, so of course he can enjoy the cake that's on the table. Because, yeah, he deserves the right to have a piece of the pie. Why not? Come on.
accusing him of being disrespectful for returning during the group's anniversary period and insisting that he should remember his own retirement. Still, regardless of how divided the reaction remains, the bigger picture is that T.O.P is stepping back into music on his own terms, with complete creative freedom and the opportunity to finally express himself in the way he chooses rather than through the lens others have imposed
I
on him.
just said
As a
that.
Twitter user put it best, there haven't been many more severe cases of Korean industry torture than what this man experienced. He never feared being honest and blunt. The storytelling we're about to witness will be crazy. All that remains is the announcement of the official date, giving fans the chance to rally behind T.O.P and ensure his return gets the recognition and impact it truly deserves. What are your expectations for the comeback? Share them in the comments down below, and thank you so much for watching.
Wow, wow, wow. What an interesting story about T.O.P. I feel like wow, this is very complicated, for an artist like him with so much presence, like I've mentioned before. You know, um, I just feel that the people, the media, like I said, just wants drama and they want to feed off negativity because what's good doesn't always trend and what trend is not always good, you know? So, yeah, I mean, I cannot wait for his comeback. I cannot wait for him to release a solo album again. Um, I feel like he deserves his credits, he deserves his flowers. So, yeah, what an interesting story. What a challenging career. What a challenging journey he had. And something that he's been judged off that happened about what? I'm not sure. 10 years ago? Come on, people. Are you that cruel? Are you that cruel? There's celebrities out there that's done worse, way, way worse, but you're not able to allow this guy to make a comeback. Wow. The internet, the media, it's a dark world out here, man. It's definitely a dark world. But however, we have came to the end of our video. This was why T.O.P's name is suddenly popping up everywhere again for his comeback of his solo album and also his appearance in Squid Games. I did watch Squid Games. I never knew that he was a Big Bang member until I found out that he was one of the members from Big Bang. When I discovered Big Bang, so to say. And yeah, now I want to go watch it again and see his acting skills because I didn't really focus on his character or his role. So I'm definitely gonna have a rewatch and see what it's all about. But with that being said, without any further ado, guys, thank you so much for watching this one with me. I hope you like this video. It was so much insightful and it gave me a very clear view on T.O.P's journey and his journey ahead. With that being said, without any further ado, please don't forget to subscribe, comment, like, and share. Put down in the comments what are your thoughts about T.O.P's comeback? What are your thoughts about T.O.P coming back into the industry as a solo artist? And yeah, and then we can take it from there. With that being said, without any further ado, your boy Creator G is out of this building. Peace.